Not necessarily true. Remember, when their credit sucks, they don't have anything to spend the money on anymore. So they tend to accumulate it. When people file bankruptcy, their debts are gone. They tend to accumulate it. They get rewards from accidents. They get workman's comp. They get tax return refunds. I don't know where to get the cash from. Probably from drugs. I don't know. They just have it and they get it. And you'd be surprised how much people can come up with to put them in a home. They don't have to go qualify the bank. So I'm going to take the applications that we get, or I'm going to take the VA gets it on the telephone. They're still going to fill out the same fire sheet, and we're going to take a look at those. And the ones who have the most money are going to go to the top. It's just that simple. No sophisticated processing system. He who has most money gets first shot. And then if we can get a reasonable monthly payment out of them, we probably found our buyer unless we find something that we really don't like in the screening process. And then we work our way down. And of course, it's area by area. They tell us what area of town they want to live in, and so we're not going to call somebody who lives on the north, wants to live on the north side with a mandarin house, unless they got a lot of money. Then we might get them to move from the north side to Mandarin. If they got a lot of money, they're going to get called pretty much every time we get a house, aren't they, Scott? Huh? It's amazing how fast people will change their mind when you call them and they didn't really mean it. They just thought they wanted to live here X, and they're not really sure. Really, what they want is a house of their own. And I find that the location of the area of the city is not near as important to them as getting in a house of their own that they like. All right, so let's screen them here on page 122. And actually, if you just turn to page 123 and 124, you'll see an absolutely magnificent script that does all the screening for you. And your VA can read this script word for word while they're talking to this person, and by the time you get through with it, you pretty much built your buyer's list based on this information. So let's just look at it real quick. Well, this is designed if they're calling you now, so you just turn a little bit around if you're calling them or they're calling them. And so it says, I'm calling about your ad. Which ad are you calling about? All right, here's the key stuff starts to kick in. Are you calling for yourself or someone else? Guys, if you're talking to someone that's not the principal, you are wasting your breath. You might as well just shut up and tell them, well, please have the person that wants to buy the house call me back. All right, and then they're asking, where's the home located? Well, we have several houses. Now watch how we segue into getting information out of them. May I ask you a few questions so I can determine which ones might fit your needs? What kind of questions? Well, are you looking to rent or are you looking to buy? Guys, you are going to get bombarded with people who really have no intention of buying, they just want to rent. Do you want them? Do you want them? You do not want them. You're looking for people who want to buy. People who want to rent don't have any money. How much money do you have to invest in your new home? I'm getting right to the point. How much do I need? Well, depending on the house and your abilities. You notice they don't get an answer out. What do you mean abilities? Well, depending on the amount of cash you have to invest, your credit strength, and our ability to do cleaning and cosmetic repairs. All right, well, how much do I need? How good does my credit need to be? Well, the more money you have, the better the terms we can create, which will determine your total down payment as well as your monthly obligation. How much do you have to work with? And you got to get an answer. You got to get an answer. Are many of your callers going to be reluctant to tell you how much money they got? All right, you have to train whoever's doing this. You must get the answer out of them. Do not get off the telephone if you don't get the answer out of them. And if they won't give you the answer, throw it in the trash. I don't even want to see it. Because it is not a buyer. It is a time waster. Because if they don't tell you how much money they got, it's likely they have none. And if they do have money, they're proud to tell you that they have it. Is that your experience, Scott? Is that your experience, John?
Yeah, when they have money, they do like to tell you about it. And like you said, they raise right to the top.
Actually, it probably comes out even before you even ask them. All right, would you consider your credit good, fair, or poor? All right, would you be interested in a home that needs some repair? We can help you with financing and make it easy for you to buy. Now, I'm looking for my work for equity clients. And if they say no, then I know they're not. And I got to put them in a house that's in pretty good shape. Well, what kind of repair? Well, some of our homes may require some cleaning, cosmetic repairs, and others extensive rehab. In fact, should you have a separate buyer's list for people who are willing to do extensive rehab? Because that's going to be a small list, but a good list. Good. Guys, I put tenant buyers in work for equity deals when the houses were condemned. I'm serious. And they know they can't move in them until it's code complied. They put that in the agreement. Of course, they buy them cheaper, but they were condemned. So I at least opted to them, let them come do the work with their own money and their own labor, and then when they're ready, they can go get whatever the loan they want, or they can just go sell it. Usually when I put somebody in it that's condemned, it's an investor. I sell it to them cheap enough, if it's condemned, I bought it down here, and they're buying it here, and the value's here after repair. This is a whole business model. In this 60-second window is a whole business model right here. Do you have any condemned places where you live? Huh? There's a whole city full of them in there. I love those orange signs that say condemned on them. Because when the minute the sign hits the house, what happens to the perceived value of the house? I mean, it's worthless in the mind of most people, right? Not to me. Does the fact that it got condemned have any relevance as to how much work it needs? None. In fact, if it's boarded up, it's probably better shape on the inside than the ones that aren't boarded up. Because the vandals can't get in there to destroy the house. And you get a lot of free plywood, don't you, when you buy it? So I have no problem with boarded up houses. I don't have any problem with condemned houses. I love condemned houses. Because I can steal them. I don't mean buy them cheap, I mean steal them. At prices so cheap you feel guilty for a moment or two. And do you know that you can get a list of condemned houses in your city from the HUD Code Compliance Department? Code Compliance. HUD Code Compliance. And you certainly got somebody riding around that can find them. So you want them in not so bad areas. But the fact that they're condemned does not stop me from wanting them. I want them more because they're condemned. And I'm telling you, really, really cheap. And now when they're condemned and FSBO owned, holy crap, does that make it easy? Okay, I'll give you X, I'll give you $500 down, I'll give you the rest later. You buy it, and or at least I buy those. Or I'm telling you, I've had people give me condemned houses. Give them to me because they have taxes owed on them. So what? If somebody deeds you a house, do you have to pay the taxes? No. You leave the taxes on it until you cash out of it. What do you care? People give you the house. In fact, banks will give you houses right now. If you want to go and deal with some banks and some houses in some marginal areas, in fact, if you go to Detroit right now, you can buy a house you want for $1 a piece. $1 a piece. Bank owned properties. You just have to sign an agreement that you'll put them back in the condition with X number of time, put them back in service. Anyway, off the subject. All right, next up. Here's one that I always like to ask. All right, John, have you ever tried to buy a home before? And if the answer is yes, well, what stopped you? I want to know that. Now I know what hurdle we got to overcome. What kind of monthly payment do you feel your family can afford for a new home? How many bedrooms do you need? Are you saying that the 2-bedroom house is out of the question? If they need 3, do you have any other requirements? Do you have pen and paper ready so I might give you the address? Or would you prefer I email them to you? And definitely we want their email address. And then give them the directions. And then you follow up after they've gone out to see the house if there's any reason for you to even give them the address. If they say they got no money and their credit sucks, you need to give them the address. No reason, because they're never going to buy from you. Okay? VA has this script. VA can take this and transfer this information to their buyer sheet. Just follow the script and answer these questions and put the answers on the buyer sheet, and you got it. And if they're doing it on a computer, it's already on the buyer's list right there. The screen's in front of them while they're filling it out. And it's a great script. It keeps you from forgetting to ask questions that should be asked.